What's going on, Aces? Welcome back to the channel. So, speaking of power dynamics and unprofessionalism, let's go ahead and talk about Andy Cohen. So, Andy Cohen is essentially, of course, we know the face of Bravo Network, and he is going to be protected by the network, by NBC Universal, Truly Original, and all of the above. So, they found that the claims made by Brandy Glanville and Leah McSweeney have been quote unquote unsubstantiated by an internal investigation. And I'm wondering, even the framers of the United States Constitution put in their checks and balances specifically to try to mitigate those power dynamics, right? Like, this is the reason why we have the legislative branch and the executive branch and the judicial branch. Um, does it always work? No. As we've seen in recent years. But I have to say kudos, um, to, I guess, the founding fathers, and just them putting those checks and balances into place, because um, the old adage of power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely is so true, because Andy has gotten away with so much for so long that um, I feel like, this is going to be interesting to play out, right? So let me go ahead and read the article. It says, in February, the former Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star accused Andy of harassment. She accused Andy of calling her while he was drunk and bragged that he was about to have sex with another Bravo celebrity. Then he allegedly invited her to watch via FaceTime call. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought they were going to talk about the Coco, not the FaceTime call. That's my first time reading that. Andy is a wild boy. Do you hear me? Because who does that? What in the Harvey Weinstein? Okay. Meanwhile, the Real Housewives of New York alum accused Andy of pressuring Bravo stars. Okay, here we go, to do the Coco. I knew one of them. Right. So that's Leah's. The stars will participate. The stars who would participate allegedly became Andy's favorites. Fortunately for Andy's opponents, an outside investigation would beg to differ. So Bravo says that they did hire somebody outside to investigate. There's so many stories going on, but they said that they did an internal investigation and they found it unsubstantiated. Then they had an outside investigation and they said that it was unsubstantiated. On May 9th, uh, Deadline published news received from a Bravo spokesperson. It says, quote, the outside investigation into the recent allegations made by Brandy Glanville and Lena McSweeney against Andy Cohen has now been completed, and the claims were found to be unsubstantiated, the source said. Andy's not entirely out of the woods yet, but this has got to feel good for him. In a recent interview, Andy discussed the dismay the claims have caused him. Oh, clutching my pearls if I had some. However, despite his distress, they are so overdramatic. Andy felt he was keeping his head above water. He's a multimillionaire protected by one of the oldest TV networks, NBC Universal, on. Oh my goodness. Okay, he says, obviously it's no fun to be a target, and yes, it's hurtful, but I have no regrets about the way I've handled anything, he shared. See, that is that protection for real, because according to Kathy Griffin, he also offered her a bit of the white cocoa and she politely declined before they fell out and she spilled all his tea. But Andy is, see, when you are allowed to do that much, eventually it's gonna catch up with you. I'm a big believer in the law of reaping and sowing. Some people call it karma, but um, I try to keep that in mind in regards to the decisions that I make. And I make a lot of mistakes, don't get me wrong, but you will reap what you sow. I mean, and that goes for the good things as well. But the bad things that people think that they are going to get swept under the rug or maybe not investigated or found unsubstantiated, those things come back to you. Let's keep reading. He says, he further reflected, I think everything that happens in your life informs the next thing that happens in your life. Okay. I hope he realizes that that's the way I look at this. I know what the truth is and I know how I've conducted myself. Okay. I walk tall every day on that. Brandy took to Twitter to imply that Andy should regret some of the things that he said over the years. And the fact that he does not says a lot about his character. Again, I feel like, when people are protected at that top level, they feel like they're invincible. And when you feel like you're invincible, you forget how fragile humanity actually is, right? Um, I feel like a lot of times people you can tell the people who have never been told no and how they react. You can tell those who don't necessarily know how to adequately navigate difficulties in their lives. And I feel like, at some point it's all going to come crashing down because of what Kathy and the rest of these people are saying is true. Then that's not sustainable. It's just not. I mean, the fact that he's a multimillionaire, the fact that he feels that he can get away with anything because he's essentially protected by the network. That's not, I mean, Harvey Weinstein did as well. I know I keep bringing his name up, but that's the one example that I can think of where they even made a movie about his life titled Untouchable, right? And it might be just Brandy and Leah today. I think it was Caroline as well. And then Nene Leakes had said something as well and got the ball rolling. Bethany Frankel, Kathy Griffin. Like my grandma used to say, baby, everybody ain't lying. Okay. Like that's a lot of women. And essentially, they're all saying the same thing, right? That he was inappropriate, that he was, offering them substances or favored those who would partake in those substances with him. And that's not a sustainable lifestyle. I'm sorry. I don't care how rich you are, how famous you are, how, protected he may be. I feel like this is going to be a train wreck. And I feel like it's going to be sooner than later because what's happening is now multiple women are starting to speak up and the ratings have been consistently going down. So, you know, I have to be honest, I'm interested to see where all of this is going to lead because reality TV, it was essentially created out of a void from the writer's strike that was back in 2008. So before 2008, there wasn't really reality TV. I think like The Real World from NTV might have been the first show. And that was a social experiment, right? Take seven strangers, put them in a house, and that was in New York. But The Real Housewives, that was based off of the show Desperate Housewives. And so Bravo was new at the time, but they, created these different cities. And 2024, they're having difficulty, finding enough people, which is ridiculous in my opinion. But to start filming and cast Real Housewives of Atlanta, because at one point Real Housewives of Atlanta was dominating all the franchises and was the number one show for a while for Bravo. And so I don't know if, what's going on there, but now people have a lot more options. There's streaming services, YouTube, things like that. So I'm interested to see, where this is all going to lead. But again, looking at a lot of stars, and when I say stars, I'm thinking about all the really heavy hitters because Andy is he's a Bravo celebrity, in my opinion, or at least, their employer. Well, when I think about stars, I'm thinking about people like, Whitney Houston and Rick James, and, they really struggled. And addiction is nothing to laugh at and nothing to play with. But in my mind, I'm thinking that, if everybody is saying the same thing from Kathy Griffin to Leah McSweeney and Caroline and Nene and all these different women, that lifestyle is not sustainable. So, you guys, let me know your thoughts. No matter how protected he is, your karma does catch up with you. Your lifestyle catches up with you. And Andy's like in his 50s too. I could see if he was like, in his 20s or 30s being, foolish, but, he's a father of two, I believe now. I know he has one son at least, but, like you're a father and he's out here just still messy as ever. But you guys, let me know your thoughts. Bravo said that the claims were the claims of everybody, not just, Leah and Brandy, but they put me, Nene Leakes and mediation child, and I don't know what's going on with Caroline's lawsuit, but I don't know. I will keep you guys updated when I find out any updates. But you guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will talk with you in the next one. Take care, Aces. Bye.